Hey folks, Tim Newman with Soft Light Studios, and it's a beautiful sunny Saturday. We are on take number 14 of this video, and I want to wrap this baby up so I can get outside and play. Today, as is the case with every Saturday, is Photoshop Day, and we have a Adobe Photoshop CC quick tip for you today, and it's all about Photoshop's rulers. And it's not just turning these rulers on and off, it's all of the inside information that makes rulers really powerful while you're working in Photoshop. If you are doing a lot of preparation for fine art printing or just printing in general, Photoshop's rulers can be absolutely critical to your workflow. Let's take a look. So here we are in Photoshop, and we have a document open and ready to go, and this will help us with our exploration of rulers. In fact, if you don't have a document open, you can't bring the rulers up because there's no tabbed interface to associate those rulers with. Bringing the rulers up in this document is as simple as going up here to the View command in the top menu, clicking on that, and you see there's a drop down here. And a little over halfway down, you see the word rulers. That's where we can turn rulers on and off. Now, rulers currently aren't on, and I can confirm that in two ways. One is I don't see them, pretty obvious. And two is there's no check mark next to rulers in this menu. If I click on this, the rulers appear. And if I go back up into the menu, I can see that, in fact, rulers has a check mark next to it now indicating that it's on. It's also the place where I can turn it back off and make that check mark go away. All right, now I very rarely go up there and turn rulers on and off there. I use the Command-R shortcut key on the Mac or the Control-R shortcut key on Windows. So you can see right here, here is a Command-R, rulers have appeared. Here's a Command-R, rulers have disappeared. So a real quick, easy way to get them to come and go. And really, honestly, everything that you can do in Photoshop by shortcut key speeds up your efficiency and makes the interaction with Photoshop just that much more fun, right? So try to commit those shortcut keys to memory. They'll definitely help you out. Now, before we explore some of the ruler options, one of the things that I want to tell you is why I like rulers so much. I'm really hooked on rulers. My rulers right now, and the vast majority of the time, are set up as the inches measurement system. So what I'm seeing here in the rulers is an indication of inches. And if I look over here at the side ruler on the left-hand side here, I can see that in fact, this image or this document here is just about 15 inches in height. And if I look up here across the top, I can see that this document here is a little over 26 inches in width. What does this mean? Well, what it tells me is if I am looking at this image at 100%, that Command 1 or Control 1 on Windows, that this is about the resolution or quality I can expect if I print it at native size. If I take this and print it out as a 15 by 26, I can expect to see this level of quality in the image. It's a really quick way of assessing what size potential that an image has. And you don't really know that necessarily by having a document open here in the window. What really drives size and quality at size is the resolution of the document. And the easiest way to do that is to bring it up to Command 1. That's going to give you the view, or Control 1, by the way, if you're in Windows. That's going to give you the view that's pretty similar to what we can expect to see if we're looking at a print close-up. And if I do that Command or Control 0 to zoom back out, I can see that, yep, in fact, at 15 by 26, this is going to print really, really well. That's a nice way of getting a handle on document size real fast. If I bring up a document and the rulers are on, and that ruler is 3 inches across the top and 2 inches across the side, it's going to make a hell of a nice looking wallet print, but it's not going to make a really good 16 by 20 because that is a massive upsizing of that image, right? So that's one of the things that I really like about rulers a lot, is they get me dialed in to what I think this thing's going to look like at native size very quickly. And a lot of my printing process is all about creating blank documents that are the intended print size. Hey, I'm going to make a 24 by 36. Let's make a 24 by 36 blank document, put 2-inch borders all the way around it for the mat if I'm going to frame it, and then size that picture within that 24 by 36 inch document and look at it and see what's this going to look like. I got a pretty good idea of how it's going to look before I hit the print button and I spend a bunch of money on ink and paper. Okay, so now that we're here, let's take a look at a couple of the really interesting shortcuts that are available in rulers. First of all, you are not stuck with the measurement system that you happen to see here, or whatever measurement system comes up by default on your installation of Photoshop. You can simply right-click, and that will bring up a measurement pop-up dialog box that allows you to change to pixels, right? Or to come in here and change to picas. If you're doing offset press work, or if you're doing type layout, those two measurement systems might be really handy for your workflow. If you happen to live anywhere but the United States, you might consider the metric system. I know we wouldn't do it here, but certainly other places, working in centimeters and millimeters certainly makes a lot of sense to those folks there. So back to inches for me. There we go. We're set up to inches. Real quick way of changing those rulers. Now, what that doesn't do is it doesn't change your measurement system preferences. If you want to change your measurement system preferences, of course, on the Mac, you can go over to Photoshop preferences. On Windows, you can go into Edit preferences. But if you want to skip working your way through the menu, down to the dialog box, and into the correct panel in there, you can simply come here and double click. And that will force you directly into the preference dialog box, and you can see right here, here's where I can set my default measurement system that I would like Photoshop to load up as a measurement system each time that I load the application fresh. All right. So 2 ways to override the measurement system. One is right click, do it temporarily. The other is double click, shortcut into preferences, change your preferences here, and that is a more permanent setting for Photoshop. And I say more permanent because you can always go in and change it again later. So it's not completely permanent, but good enough. All right, couple other things I want to show you here. Right here, I can come up here to the upper left-hand corner of this ruler bar, and I can grab in this upper left-hand corner, and I can drag the 0 point for the rulers to a new location. So you can see now 0 is hovering on the middle of this document, and 0 is hovering on the middle of the document on this side. So our new 0 location for rulers is right there. And this is really interesting because a number of things like guide layouts and various other helpful guide features are all based on where that 0 point is in the document. So that's a really, really cool thing to be able to do. Now, I'm going to just zoom out one level. That for me is holding down the space bar and holding down the Option key on the Mac. You see I get my minus zoom icon, and I click out one level. Now I got a little room around the edge of this document to work on. I can see things a little better. And if I want to take the 0 guidelines and put them back to the outside of the document, I can simply take it and place it back here. Unfortunately, it's not particularly precise because rulers don't snap to the edge of that artboard, but there is a way around this. I can come up to each ruler and I can drag out a guide which will snap to the edge of that artboard. You can see that here on the top side and the left side. And now when I grab the 0 base point of the ruler and I bring it back out here to this upper left edge of the document, you can see it snaps here perfectly. So sometimes you need a little help getting those rulers back where you want them to be, but taking a guide and putting it right there at the top edge and at the left edge of the document gives you a great place to re-snap the 0 base point for the rulers. One other quick shortcut here I'm going to show you, and trust me, there are plenty of them with rulers, but obviously Photoshop in the newer releases has smart guides in it. So if I come down here and I start dragging a guide from the top, you'll notice somewhere along the way that guide kind of all of a sudden snaps to the middle of the document. I'm going to grab here one from the left and drag it in. You'll notice that this kind of all of a sudden snaps to the middle of the document. You can kind of see it jump into place there. Come on, where'd you go? It's fighting me now. There it is. It just snapped into place there. These guides, in conjunction with the smart guides in Photoshop, are helping us to find the exact center of this document with very little trouble. I can now take that 0 base point for the rulers, and it will in fact snap to the center as well. So now not only do I have guides in the center, but I have my rulers with their 0 base point, both at the top edge of the document and at the left edge of the document, centered up perfectly in the center. So if I'm going to try to divide this into 4 frames or do something with guidelines that would really be helpful off the center, fantastic way to do it. If I'm trying to draw, I'll show you this one real quickly. It's kind of jumping out of the concept of where we are today, but this is a really, really handy one. Let's say I want to draw a circle out of the middle of the document. Historically, finding the middle of the document was really tough. I can go to the circular marquee tool here, or the elliptical marquee tool as they call it, and I can start drawing here from this snapped to center. Now, of course, the elliptical marquee tool doesn't think in terms of centers unless I hold down the Alt or Option key. And the Alt or Option key, Option for the Mac, Alt for Windows, forces that elliptical marquee to the center point of where we started. And then if I hold down, you can see here I can draw an ellipse. If I hold down the Shift key, I'm forced to have a circle. There we go. I'm going to let go of the mouse first and then what we call our modifier keys second. I now have a perfect circle perfectly in the middle of that document with none of that measuring or thinking about it. I'm just using the base 0 center for the rulers that was found by those guidelines to get me to being able to draw that circle in the center. And talk about kismet, we are done with our quick tip for today, and apparently Adobe knew that because it's telling me it's time to update my Flash Play too. So this is time for us to sign off. We'll see you in our little exit clip here in a second. Thanks for tuning into this portion. Well, that's it, folks. There is your Adobe Photoshop CC quick tip for the day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there somewhere and follow us here on Softlight Studios. We've got more videos coming at you every day of the week. And remember, as we always say, learning equals skills, practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.